Hello, everybody, and welcome to the FVI, the first volume impressions by That Manga Dude. I am your investigator here, That Manga Dude, as I mentioned before, and in this series, I will be analyzing and giving my review of volume ones of any series. This also includes one shots, so hopefully, I can give my 2 cents, I guess, in a way, about how I feel about the first volume and how that could affect how I read the next couple of volumes, or if I even want to continue reading the series. So hopefully you enjoy, and let's get started with the first volume of FVI. So the first volume for the first ever episode of the FVI is going to be Yona of the Dawn, Volume 1. So, as you may or may not know, this is a very, very popular shoujo series. It has been going on since 2009 of August, obviously in Japan. In the US, I believe it released in 2016, and has been releasing ever since. It's a very long series by Mizuho Kusanagi. Kusanagi, oh my goodness. Mizuho Kusanagi, who previously has released series as Mugen Spiral, NG Life, and Game X Rush. Those three came out in the US a long time ago under the Tokyo Pop banner, but this series is under the Shoujo Beat banner of Viz Media. So, let's get started. So, just looking at the cover itself, the cover is really pretty. I actually really like the character design that is on the front. I think the painting is done really well. I like the shine in her hair. I like the font that they used for the English translation of the title. I think that's really good. And overall, this is just a really nice volume in terms of the cover, in terms of like everything that shows in the front and the back. So, good start. Now, let's go a little bit more into some of the characters that you meet in the first volume. So, of course, as the name suggests, Yona is the main character here. She has beautiful red hair. She's the princess of a kingdom, and a little bit shy, but also kind of spunky. She likes to stand up for herself and knows what she wants in a way. She's in love with her cousin, Suwon, who is another person that you meet throughout the first volume. It's actually this guy right here. Genuinely, he seems like a pretty cool guy. Seems like he has ulterior motives in terms of how he speaks, in terms of what he does throughout the first volume, so I find that to be really interesting. You also meet another important character named Hawk, or Hack. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce their names because I haven't seen the anime, or have like read that kind of stuff. But Hawk is the general of like her army, or her family's army. He is her personal bodyguard. He is super cool. I actually really like him a lot, and I really like that he uses like that kind of staff, like sword axe thing. I'm so bad. I think it could be a halberd. I don't think it's a halberd though. But hopefully I'll put it on screen. But generally, he's a great character, and I really hope he becomes very important later in the series, but it looks like they're building it up to be that way. After that, we have King Il, which is Yona's father. He is a nice guy, but he's constantly called a coward by many of his peers and many of other people, when in actuality, he's actually a very strong man, really cares about his daughter, and just wants her to be happy. After that, we have Lord Diok. I'm so sorry. I'm going to butcher these names for the most part, but that is going to be Hack's grandfather, as they say. He is he's not related by blood, but basically he took him under his tutelage to train him in, like, I believe, like the sword arts. They don't really explain too much other than he's under his tutelage, and he's just a pretty cool guy. And last but not least, Uncle Yuhan. That is going to be her uncle, and it's going to be Suwon's dad. He seems like your typical like two-faced character. He has a lot of anger in him, and you can clearly see that when he shows up in the flashback in I believe it's the third or fourth chapter. But yeah, just a lot of stuff happens between these characters within the first couple chapters, so let's get started on that. Alright, now let's hop into the story. So, right off the bat, you start off with actually a present time, I would like to say, or a future tense. You see Yona standing at the mountain top, and right after that you get thrown into the story, which sends her back a couple years. where she talks about how or why she's out in the open, because basically she's just a princess who has a loving father who is the king, and you get thrown into it and you meet like a bunch of characters. You meet Suwon, you meet Hak, and of course you meet King Il and Yona, and it's just genuinely just like really really quick, gets you right into the pace. You figure out exactly what everybody's motives are in a way. You learn that Yona likes Suwon because of just a variety of things. He brings her a lot of peace, and she's in love with him, so she wants to get married to him in order to because I don't know, she believes that he is they're destined to be good together. Hawk is a little bit questionable about this because of course they're family, so that'd be really weird. And Suwon is not it just teases her, sees her as a sister, which he mentions in the first chapter. After everybody's at the kingdom for her birthday, and you come to find out that someone tries to kidnap her, and this happens like towards the end of chapter 1, so she's freaking out, and then she goes to visit her dad to go tell, and lo and behold, he has been slain by none other than Suwon, which, don't get me wrong, I kind of saw it coming, but it was still very shocking when it happened. I think it was still like a very impactful death, even though we didn't really have a ton of time with him. But I think we had just enough that we cared that he died. Then you figured out that Suwon had ulterior motives. The reason why he came to the kingdom in the first place for her birthday was to kill the king in terms of getting vengeance for his dad, who was supposedly murdered by the former king. And so then he's like, well, I didn't want you to see this, but now you have to die. So Yona is saved by Hak, who is, of course, the general / her personal bodyguard. They have a pretty cool fight. Gets a little gory, gets a little bloody, and then they run off. They meet up with Minsu, who is another person who's a part of the army of King Il, and he's like, okay, kingdom's under fire. You guys have to escape because Yona is the only one that really matters, So Minsu pretends to be her and then gets shot in the back with an arrow almost immediately, and it was absolutely devastating, even though I didn't per se care about Minsu, but I still think you could see that there's a lot of destruction already happening. So Yona and Hawk run off and escape the kingdom. Then you get thrown into a flashback where you get to learn why Yona, Suwon, and Hawk all know each other, and Hawk is the grandson of a general within the family, whose name is Mondyok, and he's the leader of the Wind Tribe. So yeah, Hawk is basically doesn't want to be there, doesn't really want to deal with kingdoms and royals because he's part of part of a non-royal family in a way, and you get to learn his motives and why he ends up becoming her bodyguard in the first place. It's just genuinely it's actually a really good flashback, and I typically don't like flashbacks within manga series, especially within the first couple chapters, but I think this one's done in a way that it works, that it doesn't feel overdrawn out or anything like that. So you figure all that out, and then boom, you get thrown right back into right after they escape. Yona is completely out of it, of course, because she just lost her father, and the man of her dreams is her father's murderer and was planning to kill her, which is a complete shock. So she's kind of in a way, completely out of it. Doesn't really want to do anything, doesn't know what to do in a way. So Hawk is there to protect her, and it is amazing because Hawk is the best. She ends up taking a bath and gets leeches all over her, and he takes them all off. And then just a whole lot of crazy stuff happens within this first volume. I was genuinely surprised by how gory it was, in comparison to what most people would say a shoujo series is. But I was genuinely wow, that was a lot. But I think it's cool. I genuinely really liked the chapters that I got to read within this first volume. Now let's talk about the art. So I actually really like the art. I think the art's pretty solid. I'm not usually a big fan of shoujo art of this style, but I think this one's done in a way that's nice. I think some of the posing is good. I like the character designs quite a bit. I mean, of course they're historical based, but genuinely I don't know. I really like it, and I think that the use of like screen tones and certain designs is really cool. And just overall, I don't know, it's just a really, really pretty series, and I'm happy that I got to read it and check it out. So, I will give you guys my final rating. I think this is a series, or this is a volume 1 that's very, very good. I think it gets the job done in a fun and tasteful way, and a lot of things are built out within the first volume, which doesn't typically happen, but I actually really like how much is in this. Like it is jam packed, but it is a solid, quick read. I would say probably take about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fast you read. But I'm super excited to keep reading more. So that's it for the first episode of FVI, the first volume impressions. I hope you liked it. Definitely going to keep working on the craft and keep working on how I want to kind of put these videos together, because I've never done something like this. So very excited to keep working on reviews and keep working on the FVI. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you did, leave a like down below. Tell me what you think of the first volume of Yona the Dawn, or Yona the Dawn in general, and I'd love to hear your opinions, because of course there's like 37 volumes out or something like that in Japan, and I'm just excited to keep reading more. So like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next FVI.